Hey everyone, it's Ange McCabe with Myrtle and Moss Photography. I'm so excited to finally be releasing my new presets called Lume. Now, if you've been following me for a long time, you'll know that I'm very loyal to my presets, Evoke. I've been using those for the past 3 years. And so these new presets have been a long time in the works. So these are probably going to be my ones that I'm going to use for everything because honestly, I'm so obsessed with them. They are, there's a few similarities to Evoke. So if you are using Evoke or my other presets, it still will have those nice warm tones. The photo that you're currently looking at is not edited. I'm going to go ahead and edit a few photos for you today just so you can see how they work. But it keeps the whites nice and crispy and clean. It stays very true tone to the colors so that, especially if you're a wedding photographer, you know, those bridesmaid dresses, the suit tones, the florals, they're all going to just be slightly enhanced. They're not going to be, you're not going to have to do any crazy tweaks to get them to work for you. Now, I have tested these presets on Canon, Sony, and Nikon, and I haven't had any issues. The profile that I use is just standard Adobe color, but that is embedded into the preset, so you don't need to worry about that. So I have a few photos to do to edit for you today. I have tried to pick a nice variety of tones, skin tones, indoor, outdoor, sunset, low light, that kind of a thing. So let's, I guess, get to it. So if you haven't already installed them, I do have install videos as well as a PDF that will come with the preset. If you just look over here on the left of my screen, you can see that you will get, once you install it, you will have all of these right here. I use preset 1, 2, and 3, the Lume Base Presets. And then if you are a person that likes to do your black and white photos in Lightroom, you can certainly go ahead and do that. But these presets also include my Skin Retouching Toolkit that come with my Evoke presets as well. So if you already have them, don't worry about reinstalling them. It's going to be the same Skin Retouching Toolkit for Photoshop. So for me, my process is I like to do all of my skin retouching and any type of Photoshopping after I've done my Lightroom edits. And then if I'm going to turn them into black and white, that's when I actually just use my black and white my black and white action that's included in the Photoshop Skin Retouching Toolkit. So if you're not that type of person, you don't like to move photos into Photoshop, then you can totally use these black and white presets that come with the Lightroom presets. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and apply, let's go with preset 3. I'm also going to do yellow crush on this one just to keep it really nice and clean. Another thing about this preset is that it creates really nice creamy skin tones. I'll show you on a variety of skin tones as well, just so you can see. Obviously, everyone is different. And then it also includes the custom brush set. So if you do not have the new updates for Lightroom, there's some pretty neat features. Don't be afraid of them. They're very good. So you can see here it's detecting people. So what you can do is click that person, and once it detects that, obviously her face isn't showing, so it's not going to show us her face, but if it did, it would break it down to like her eyebrows, her lips, that sort of a thing. But right now it's only detecting hair and body skin. So let's just say we want to change the tone of her skin. We select body skin, create mask. And then what we do is, it does have memory, so it's remembering my last brush that I used, which was skin smoothing. But you can just go down here, and all of the brushes will be loaded into here once you install them. So we might just leave that, but you can, like if I wanted to go warm up, you can see there that her skin was warmed up a little bit. I don't particularly want that to be done, but I just wanted to show you how you can use them. Once I find a different photo, I'll be able to show you how like all my other smart filters work as well. Now, just because it does say over here AI filter doesn't mean that you have to use it with an AI filter, or maybe you haven't updated your Lightroom. That's totally okay. They still work just as a normal, if you wanted to just say add a brush. Any one of these AI filters will also just work as a brush. So not to overwhelm you, but it's definitely multifunctional. Okay, so let's just start over here at the beginning. All of the photos I show you are raw. Most of these photos are mine. If they're not, I will let you know whose they are. Okay, so here is a raw file. I'm gonna go over here to my base preset. You can see how nice and clean they are. They keep the whites nice and crispy. I like to use that word when I refer to my whites. There we go. And then if you wanna go ahead and add anything, like if you're a grain person, you like to use grain, you wouldn't really be able to see it unless I zoomed in here quite a bit. Here we go. Here's heavy grain. And obviously you can go ahead and do your own tweaks to any one of these as well. If you're like, hey, you know what? And you call this heavy grain. That is not heavy grain for my opinion. So you can obviously go down here and make your own tweaks as well down in the grain. Where is it? Here we go. Grain. Okay. So let's just add grain, heavy grain. If you want more, you can obviously crank it down here as well. Okay, so we want this one to look nice and filmy. Here, I'm just going to do a little side by side so you can see the tones there. I'm like literally obsessed. When I nailed this preset, I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't think I could outdo myself, but I feel like I have outdone myself. Anyways, that's all I would do to this photo. If you want to go ahead and add any vignetting, you can also do that. Obviously, it's not going to work for every single photo. This photo, I particularly like to be nice and crispy right to the corners. So that's about it for that photo. Let's move along. This is Nicole Ashley and her hubby when they were pregnant. Let's go ahead and apply Lume. I think Lume preset 2, base preset 2 is what I like for this one. Now you can also, if you do have the new Lightroom updates, you can control how much intensity of the preset you want. So you can go up here if you're looking at the top left. If you want it to be a little more intense, it essentially just cranks everything a little bit more based on like percentage up here. So let's just go a little bit more, like 113 sounds good. And I'm also still going to crank dehaze. Dehaze is like my favorite tool. I also think that if we go in here with some vignetting, it's going to make everything pop a little bit more too. So I think that is good for me. Another tool that I have made with the adjustment brushes is background selection. And I have a really cool filter that I use just to make the backgrounds a little bit more punchy. So this one warmed it up. We don't want that. But I'm just going to go down here to background pop. So I'm just going to click that, and it's too intense for this photo. So I'm just going to dial it back. So you can do that with the brushes as well, which is really nice. Also, if you're using AI filters and you particularly like have done all of the specific brushes for lips and eyes and that sort of a thing, it will actually remember from photo to photo, which is really nice, especially if you are a wedding photographer. It's great. It recognizes people. So yay for saving time. I'm all about saving time. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and I might tweak this just a little bit more, maybe go a little bit more on the magenta side, a little bit more on the warmth, increase exposure a little bit, but we've done pretty minimal tweaks to this photo. There is the before and after. You can see that the tones are still pretty true to what they are, which is really nice if you're a wedding photographer. Okay, so here we go. Here is a raw file. I'm obsessed with this model. She's so fun to edit. Let's go ahead and just use base preset 2. That's kind of the one I gravitate towards quite a bit. And I don't think I'm going to add any vignetting to it. Let's increase exposure and warmth a little bit. There we go. That's probably all I would do. Oops, sorry, the before is showing with Evoke. But yeah, there we have it. I'm just going to keep on ripping through these, all right? Okay, raw file. Let me just double check. It is raw. And this one's a little bit more muted. So let's go, I think we're going to go with base preset 1. Going to increase my exposure. Warmth, I'm going to turn it up quite a bit. Maybe some tint as well. Okay, now I'm going to, let's see here. Now that I might actually go with base preset 3. I'm kind of vibing that right now. It's increased dehaze. Let's do some vignetting. There we go. And this photo is probably a little bit grainy. It is. So I'm going to, this is without adding grain. So it was taken at dusk. So it was pretty grainy. Let's go low light noise reduction just to make it a little more crisp. There we go. I might even make this a little more warm. There we go. Just kind of playing with shadows. There we go. There's the before and after. If I wanted to add some grain, I probably would do that for this photo as well. I know it's kind of counterproductive. We removed the noise and the grain and then we added it back, but the low light noise reduction also helps with skin smoothing. So if you do have a pretty grainy photo to begin with, it certainly doesn't hurt to do low light noise reduction and then add grain back. Your photo will be a little bit more polished underneath the grain. Okay, here we go. Here is a lovely family of mine that I've documented a few times. Let's go. I'm kind of going towards base preset too. There we go. Nice and clean, really minimal tweaks. There we go. Let's see, maybe a little bit more on the magenta side just to bring out the reds in their lips and faces a little bit. There we go. There's before and after. If you did want more green added back in, you can also go ahead and click add greens. But just keep in mind, all of the toolkit presets are what I call global presets. So you don't have the control with them like you do with a brush, which is why include the brushes as well, because it changes the whole image. So all of the greens in the photo. And if you know your color wheels and underlying skin tones, or you'd like to play with makeup, you'll know that a lot of undertones of skin have like blue and yellow and green. So when you start playing with greens to get the green back and the yellows, you're also going to be playing with the skin tones a lot. So just something to keep in mind if you're trying to make those greens pop, but it's affecting the skin tones too much, it would probably be beneficial to go in and use a brush instead. All right, let's move along to this boudoir photo. Okay, so gotta go with base preset 2 again. That's a winner for me. And then I want to make this one a little bit more moody. So there we go. Decrease warmth a bit. You can see that the tones, even though when you go to the cool side, the tones are still really nice in the skin, which I really enjoy. Let's make this one a little more moody. Maybe increase dehaze a little bit. And then I could go in with a brush, which is what I would do. And I'm just going to make my own brush. I'm just going to brush onto her leg just to brighten it up a little bit. And I'm going to hit reset down here. So just like I said, brushes do have memory. So whatever you were using last time, it's going to keep that loaded. So, and right now it's only red because I have the overlay highlighted here. But I'm just going to increase exposure a little bit. Increase shadows a touch and brighten up my highlights just a tad. So that one I just created my own tweaks that I wanted, but I do have different brushes as well, just for lightening up if you like to just use preloaded brushes. All right, here is if you're stuck in this brush mode and you're trying to get back to your main adjustments, just go up here and click edit, and then you'll be able to get back to your Okay, it keeps on using the base preset as my last edit when I was editing it with Evoke. So anyways, that's not a good example of before and after, but there we go. Okay, now this photo. So a photo like this, you can see that I have a couple issues here with the crop because I want all of my lines to be nice and straight, but this is a photo where I would probably crop it like this in Photoshop or in Lightroom. And then I would actually go ahead and straighten the rest of this in Photoshop using the distort tool. So if you are part of my education group, I do have a video all about how I make perfect crops. If you look under my guides in my Stay Inspired with Ange McCabe group, it is in there. You can see how I perfect all of my photos and make them perfectly straight and orgasmic. When it comes to straight lines. Okay. So let's go ahead. This is a really good example how you can see all the different colors of this preset and how clean they are. I think preset 2 once again is going to be the winner today. Going to increase exposure, contrast, a little bit of dehaze. Going to go in maybe with some vignetting. I think this one's good, just like that. And then there's a little bit of grain there. So let's just go ahead and do low light noise reduction. I use that all the time. And if I wanted to go back in and add a little bit more grain, I can use my light grain brush or toolkit preset. Okay, let's see. Is it going to do the before and after? Oh, it keeps on showing. See, this is Evoke. It's a little more intense, a little more bold, which I still like. But now that I'm comparing the two, I'm like, whoo, I don't know. This one's clean. This one's really timeless. I'm kind of digging it. So there you go. I wish that it would hold the memory of just the raw photo. Okay. maybe what I can do is go create virtual copy. If you're ever doing a couple different edits, you can just create a virtual copy in Lightroom, and then you can export them both and then decide. So let's just say I wanted to do a black and white version of this photo. So let's go, here, I'm going to make 2 virtual copies. So we'll have our raw file right here. Then in the middle one, we will do the base preset. Let's see, it's hard to see when it was a little bit underexposed. Just gonna warm that up now. Let's play around. Ooh, see, that's nice and muted. I really like them all. But I'm gonna go with base preset too, just because it's got a little more punch. If you wanted to add greens back in, this is a good example of adding greens back in. Let's go ahead and do that. And then we also want some vignetting. I think that is good. Maybe do a little bit of dehaze. There we go. Ooh, this is good. Oh, I love it. I'm obsessed. Is that cocky to say that? These are so fucking good. I just love it. Okay, now let's just say we wanted to do black and white. So there's obviously one black and white 3 is quite muted, so you can definitely tweak it as well, and play around up here too with your sliders. But I happen to like black and white 2 personally. There we go. Nice and punchy, and then add some vignette back in there as well. So here is the raw. There's my edit, and then there's the black and white, which maybe I'll go even a little more contrast. There we go. Okay, let's move along. This photo is a little crooked. I would not straighten this in Lightroom. I would do this in Photoshop because I don't want it to crop. If I was to try and crop it, it's going to crop into their heads. Don't want to do that. And I really wish that Lightroom would come up with a way of doing content aware when you're cropping. But until that happens, I'm a Photoshop girl. We're just going to keep that in Photoshop. Okay, let's go ahead and apply base preset too. I'm going to show you, actually, I'm going to make this one a little bit more artsy. I'm going to show you what we can do here. So for me, I always edit the way, when I'm editing for you guys, I just edit the way I would edit. So if you are somebody who likes to be a little bit more creative, have a little bit more of like that film look, or like if you use a mist filter, if you know what I'm talking about, it's like an actual filter that goes on your lens that makes everything look a little more like dreamlike, a bit more cinematic. I do have toolkit presets that go on top to get that look if you want to play around. So I have Misty Grain, which you're not really going to see until you're zoomed in quite a bit. Misty Grain 1 kind of like makes everything a little more hazy, a little more cinematic. But then Misty Grain 2 is definitely the more creative one. Here we go. So everything's a little bit more muted. And I think it looks better when it's a little bit more on the cool side as well. Kind of depends on the vibe that you want. And you can obviously play around with like dehaze as well. But it kind of gives it like that really moody, creamy, kind of dreamy vibe. Now for me, I would probably edit a photo like this to post online just to like share. Probably wouldn't make it to my feed only because it's not going to go at all with my work, and it's quite a bit more muted. But if you like those subtle tones, that might be a cool creative toolkit preset for you to use. I am going to reset this though, just so I can show you a proper edit on how I would do it. There we go. Decrease contrast a little bit. There we go. Something like that. Nice and clean. Perfect. Okay. You can see minimal tweaking. I'm not going beyond the basic editing panel for most of these photos. I love photographing photographers. This is Gio Johnson. She's a beautiful goddess, and I felt so lucky to shoot her. This was for a workshop of mine. So let's go ahead and edit. Is this almost a one click? Almost. Just a little bit of contrast and maybe a little bit of warmth. There we go. Done. Like speed edit round. Let's do this. Okay. This photo was my first wedding I shot on my R5, and I'm so amazed at the quality of the zoom here. Look at the Chanel on the lipstick. That is insane. And then pulled back. Mind-blowing. Okay, let's go ahead and just make this fit. Let's go. Ooh, I kind of like base preset 3 on my bride here. There we go. So nice and clean. This one almost doesn't even look like it's edited, but like in a good way. It doesn't really need much. Maybe do some vignetting. Ooh, yeah, I like that. Just to frame her a little bit more. Perfect. Okay, let's move along. This is just for a creative project I was working on 2 winters ago with Ruby Rocks. She's a very talented model. I love working with this girl, and my friend Anise from Bespoke Blossoms, who does most of my florals and all of the photos that you see of mine. Okay, let's go ahead and edit this. All right. Let's keep this one a little bit more kind of Renaissance vibes. Renaissance. There we go. Why be mature when you can be immature? That's my sister's motto. When we were children and we used to fight, she used to say, she's my older sister too. And when my mom couldn't hear her, she would say, why be mature when you can be immature? Anyways, I'll get that tattooed on my body one day. Okay, here we go. Let's just keep that a little bit more on the cool side. And it's a little too magenta for me, so let's bring down the tint just a wee bit. There we go. Now she has a very specific red tone in her hair. So I would, oh, it's showing me my Evoke preset. Disregard. But you could certainly go in with a brush and then play around with temperature and tint just to get it to that right color. But I'm kind of digging this just like as is. Definitely would need some grain as well. See, here's that misty grain too. Kind of gives it that really cool vibe. This one as well actually is quite... Ooh, I actually really like misty grain one. Anyways, this one is a lot more artsy than my typical work, so I could fart around with that all day, but let's move along. You probably don't want to watch. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and apply Lume 2. It's going to be the winner again. Okay, I'm just going to decrease temperature a little bit and increase my magenta just a little bit here on tint. Definitely, we're going to need some vignetting here just to really frame her in, create that mood that we want. Do a little straightening because, hold on, everything's crooked in this photo. I'm trying to line up this line, but this one's off. That's all right. We're going to leave it. We're just going to do it like that. I might bring down shadows a little bit here just to really bring out the moodiness, increase my dehaze. Now, if you have any fringing... This one's got a little bit on the flames. I do have defringe toolkit presets built in. If you shoot into the sun lots and you get it in your client's hair, this actually has very minimal fringing. There's maybe a little bit here, but I don't even think it's going to pick up. We can do it just for good measure. That wasn't a very good example, but okay. There we go. I would probably just warm up her leg here just a little bit. Even though I have my AI filters, I still find I do a lot of just custom brushes because it's a lot easier to just do the tweak that I need to. Something like that would be good. Now, if I'm trying to brighten something, sometimes I actually just decrease contrast, and that really kind of boosts it a little bit as well. And I'm going to bring down the tint there just a little bit. All right. So now if I want to see the before and after, oh, it's showing me Evoke. Let's not do before and afters. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so this one was right after the sun went down. So it's technically blue hour, even though it's still golden, but we do have those like bluish tones as well. And like magenta undertones in the skin because of blue hour. So let's go ahead and we're going to make base preset 1 the winner here today. Let's go ahead and warm this right up. Let's go vignette. I think vignette 1 will be good. Let's increase dehaze a bit and pump that temperature up a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Something like that should be good. Oh, it keeps on just showing me Evoke. Okay. I would probably call that a day. Also, the black and white presets are going to work really nice in this photo. I find that the black and white presets work really nice when you have really nice highlights on like collarbones and like on your portrait, like on the face as well. But I like I said, I like to do all my black and white conversions once I'm finished with my photo in Lightroom. I'll bring it into Photoshop. All right, so it was really dark. This photo was very grainy, but that's all right. We're gonna work with it. Let's do base preset 3. And we're going to decrease temperature. I still want this to be warm. Now my goal whenever I'm editing is I want it to feel like it did in real life. And it was dark. It was moody. So I just want to get the tones good, and then I'll play with the exposure. I might bring it down a little bit more. Bring up my highlights and my whites just to pop that in the background a little bit. Now if I wanted to, I could actually just do subject select. And if you notice, I didn't select people, I just did subject select, and it's going to pick them out in a mask there. I'm just going to click reset. I'm going to just bump up the exposure on them just a little bit. There we go. And they're a little bit on the magenta side, so I might actually just bring the tint down a little bit to green. So if you're dealing with red or magenta undertones of skin, using the tint slider to the more green side, it's a complementary color on the color wheel. So that's how you're going to counteract a lot of the redness. So if you like to do makeup, you'll probably know that concealers usually have yellow or green undertones, or like purple, depending on the color that you're trying to counteract. So there we go. I'm definitely going to use low light noise reduction as well. This photo will be a really good example to show you. Whoops, sorry, I'm going to make you sick there. Here's low light noise reduction. There we go. And then I can increase clarity a little bit too, if I want it to be a little bit more crisp. All right. I don't know if the before and after, yeah, there we go. So just nice and clean. I'm really, maybe it will brighten that up. Perfect. All right. This one will be good to show you yellows and greens. Disregard this really creepy sunflower in the background. That is a Photoshop fix that I'm not going to do on camera right now. But okay, let's go ahead and add Lume Base Preset. I think Lume 2 is going to be good here. Now, if you have a really white shirt, sometimes you pick up these like blue undertones as well. So you can definitely go blue remove, but skin does have blue undertones as well. So just, it might be more of a brush situation, but we'll probably just leave it in this photo. I'm okay with it. I think vignette 1 will be what I want. Let's increase exposure a little bit, decrease shadows, increase contrast, and maybe play with, no, we're gonna go warm. Warm. Increase my tint. I'm looking at the overall tint of the photo. I'm not focusing on one particular area. I want the overall vibe to be a little bit more on like that magenta warm side of things. There we go. That should be pretty good, just like that. Let's see. There's the before and after. Okay, now this photo is from my good friend Heather Cole. She's very talented photographer based out of Oregon. And I was like, she's like an Evoke girl. She loves using Evoke. And I'm like, hey, can I test my presets on your beautiful work? Because I might make you be an unfaithful bae to Evoke. You might be switching to Lume. So anyways, I'm always honored to edit her work. She's amazing. Okay, so let's go ahead and you can really see this one really made the background pop. I think I'm going to do base 1, but I want to add some vignetting back in. So that is good for me. Something like that. Her raw file is just phenomenal. Barely needed to, like, honestly, you could just increase contrast and that photo would be fine without a preset. She's so good. Okay. So it's nice and warm, but still nice creamy skin tones. There's the before and after. Look how good her raw file is. But a little bit more detail popping out in the background there and just kind of gives it a nice kind of warm vintage vibe. Okay, this photo is from my friend Rachel Kia. She's also very talented. She's based out of California. So whenever I have a photo that looks like it might be blown, I always check it first. And no, it's not blown. It's just, I'm talking about the part here by his ear. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply the preset. Let's go. We're going to go with base 2, but there's a lot of magenta in this photo. So I'm gonna bring tint down just a little bit and maybe cool it down a little bit as well. Okay, now I'm going to bring down the highlights. So you're gonna get his ear back. There we go. And I'm gonna increase exposure a little bit. And I also kind of want to frame them. I think it's the shadows and light. It's really interesting in this photo, but I do think we need to frame them a little bit more. So I think adding natural vignette 1 will be what this photo kind of needs. Perfect. I'm gonna actually bring those whites and highlights all the way down. Here is the before and after. See, it's just nice and clean. I might actually bring down the green a little bit more here on tint. Perfect. Okay. So there we go. Nice and clean is what I can say about this preset. All right. Here's the one that we have already edited. So let's move along. This is also Rachel Kia's photo. So freaking cute. Look at that little face. Okay, let's go and apply. I'm going to increase exposure first just so we can see what we're working with first. Let's go base preset 1. Increase exposure again. We're going to add some vignetting in. Let's also add a bit more dehaze, a little bit more warmth. Need a little more contrast here too. And then let's add the green back in the background. Add greens. So you can see that this does, he has some undertones of green in his jacket, probably from reflection from the trees or the forest around them. But let's just go ahead and add greens back. And I might actually just scale that back. So remember, you can use the sliders up here, right? So I might just dial it back a wee bit. There we go. And actually, so the add greens actually changes the calibration as well. So I'm just going to decrease this just a tiny bit. There we go. If you do add greens and you decide you don't want it, you should undo what you've done, because like I said, it does tweak the calibration down here. So if you just go and click Lume, it's actually going to get rid of it again. Disregard what I just said there. It's been a long day. Okay. Here we go. Something like that. So just nice and clean. How many times does Ange say clean today? Okay, now this photo is Callie Jusak's photo. I got her to send these to me because I was obsessed with this session, and I was like, oh, I have to test these presets on this yummy session. Okay, so this baby A is so stinking cute. It's dangerous for me to see cute babies. I get baby fever. Okay, let's go ahead and add base preset 2. I'm gonna warm it up just a little bit. There we go. And then just bring down the tint just a tiny bit. I'm just looking at baby's skin tones. So I'm gonna go, that should be good. Warm it up just a little bit more. There we go. Bring up my whites if I want to. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Now here's mom and dad with baby in her beautiful studio. So I'm just gonna go through the different ones here. You can look at the blues. So the blues are pretty different in all of them. But I'm gonna hit reset. Okay, that is just so you can see the color. So always, if you're having a hard time with a certain color, always refer to the original photo, just so that you can kind of stick true with that. I don't mind removing a bit of the blue in blue jeans, especially if they're a little bit more on like this kind of bright, kind of intense blue. But I honestly think that something like this, but warmed up, will be really nice and a really clean edit for this photo. Let's go ahead and straighten this just a tiny little bit. Bring this in maybe like that. Beautiful. Now, whenever I'm shooting in like a white studio space, I usually like to keep it nice and clean. But you can add some vignetting. I'm not going to. But there we go. Just warm it up maybe even a little bit more. Okay, now here's before and after. There we go. Perfect. Baby skin tone on baby's good. Everyone looks good. I would be happy with that. Okay, now we're on to our last photo, and we're going to end on Heather Cole's photo of this beautiful motherhood session. Just going to crop this in a wee bit. Something like that. Just going to look at the bottom of the paper roll. Just kind of line everything up with that. There we go. Okay, now this photo is like perfection, so kudos to you, Heather. Let's go and apply. We'll go base preset 2. Gonna increase exposure, decrease shadows. I do want to frame this a little bit with some vignetting. Let's go ahead and do that. Gonna brighten up my whites and highlights a little bit, and I might cool it down just a touch. Let's see. If I'm trying to figure out how much warmth or like coolness to a photo I want, usually I'll kind of go extreme. Like I'll start super cool. I know I'm super cool, so but my tendency is to go warm. So let's increase it a little bit until we're happy with it. Or alternately, I would start really, really warm and then go down to a point where I'm happy with that. And sometimes if my eyes are like, I just can't, I'm very indecisive. Usually it means I've done too much editing for the day. Save yourself some time and just take a break or pick it up the next day. I've done that way too many times where I sit down on my computer and I think, what the heck was I doing yesterday or last night or in the wee hours of the morning? Okay, there we go. I don't think I would need those greens back because it affects the skin tones too much. But there's the before and after. Like I said, her raw file was absolute perfection. But there we have it, guys. Thanks so much for watching this. I hope it was a little bit helpful. I will be live in my group, going over like your work as well. If you ever want me to edit, your photos with my presets, I'm happy to do that as well. Thank you so much for being a part of my community and for your support. I'm really stoked that you guys year after year keep on supporting me and my especially my educational side of this industry. I'm so honored to be a part of this community, and I really feel like I found my people. So thank you for being my people, and take care. Have a good evening or morning or whatever part of the day you are enjoying right now. I hope that my Lume presets makes your day a little better. Take care, guys. Bye.